Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free.
Okay, next question.
I'm a horse football coach right now.
You know, it got shoved up, shoved it up. It got shoved, right?
Let's go kick some ass.
What a week, what a week, what a week. Spartan fans, what a week. It's Nick, joined with Winston and Travis. Oh man, feels like the first time we've said what a great week of Spartan sports since we've started recording this podcast. How's it going today, Travis?
For that weekend, freaking fantastic. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Beautiful. Willie, kicking it over to you. How are you doing?
Oh yeah, I mean, man, just things are feeling good again. Things are looking in the right direction. Feels like the ship is being steered correctly. For Michigan State athletics, finally feeling a little bit of normal around here. We'll get into all of it, but the basketball team looked like the basketball team. There seems to be some competency in the football world.
Booker.
Yeah, I mean, things are looking up. The Lions won. Feels like we're back, and maybe a week off for the Spartan Savants wasn't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, maybe they kind of felt our pain. They saw us taking a week off. They said, let's reassess, let the guys think some more. And here we are. Speaking of MSU basketball, we're actually watching the Oakland game live. Booker just hit a three. We're up by 26 points right now. Vibes are high. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. Hopefully there's not much to talk about, because if there is, something went wrong horribly. So let's start with the coaching. We hired 3 new coaches since we last spoke to you beautiful listeners. We retained Harlan Barnett as coach, Courtney Hawkins as the wide receivers coach, and we hired the new defensive coordinator, Rossi. Winston, what are your thoughts on those?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll get to the least notable first. I think Harlan Barnett, keeping him around, I think it's low risk. I don't think there's much that harm with that decision. The only negative I could see is if there's still a little bit of too much head coach in Barnett and tries to overstep sometimes, but I don't see him being that kind of guy. I could see that if he truly felt the head coaching job should have been his. But I think that if that was the case, Smith probably would have sniffed that out. I think it's good to have a guy who knows Michigan State well on the staff, especially with a coach like Jonathan Smith, who's coming in admittedly not knowing much. And the same thing can be said for Courtney Hawkins. I think that he has much more upside in terms of recruiting and player development than I think Barnett does. That's not a knock on Barnett as a coach. But I just think that it's clear that Courtney Hawkins has done a nice job with the receivers. He seems to be very well thought after in the college football world. Sounded like he had other options to go elsewhere. Anytime you can keep a former player that played in the NFL that's from Michigan, that knows the Detroit area well, is a plus. So I think tip of the cap, good news to keep both those guys. Both should help in recruiting. Obviously, with Rossi, don't know too much about him other than what I've read. It sounds like we were going for a big home run, whether that was Lake or kicking the tires on Parker. But either way, taking again, I kind of go back to being able to take a Power 5 head coach from a school. I think being able to poach a Power 5 the coordinator from an in-conference foe is also another big play for MSU. Everything that people say about this guy is that people have nothing but good things to say about him, I should say. Obviously, we know what he's done the past couple of years at Minnesota. People talked a lot about his schemes, making adjustments, not just running 2 or 3 coverages out of 2 or 3 formations. He likes to mix it up, likes to hide things, make it look like he's running cover 3 and actually drop into different coverages. So everything you hear about him is great. Sounds like a good hires all around. I'm excited to see what he can bring to the table. I think obviously our past defensive coordinator was a little underwhelming, even though I thought Hazelton did a fine job this year. just from what I hear about Rossi, all good things, and very excited to see what he can do. Definitely gonna have his work cut out for him next year, but again, not coming into a totally empty cupboard there with a solid group at DB. Obviously, some names sticking around at linebacker. Hopefully, Jordan Hall continues to hold his position where he's at in terms of staying in East Lansing. But yeah, I mean, everything, sounding good, looking good, and happy to keep some guys on for some continuity purposes as well.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add on Hawkins and Barnett. I think really hit that pretty well. They're alumni from the program, needed to stick around, did a very good job steering the ship through all that chaos, even though we didn't win a lot of games. And they're pretty good recruiting guys to have overall. And then on Rossi, I mean, it's not the big swing that we've had before, like Willie was saying, but what I've said on the show a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about it was, Parker and Blake were the A+ hires basically, and he's solid B+, possibly A-, possibly working towards that A+ if he can do so, can continue what he's been doing with Minnesota and his other previous stops. A lot of people were talking, at least I saw on Twitter, fans of other teams like, oh, Sparty went and hired a guy from Minnesota. How good can he be or whatever? Well, aside from this year, he's got 3 years of top 10 units at that school that's not really known for it. He's put 8 players in the NFL. A lot of the DBs, especially, were very good players. A couple starters now with Antoine Winfield Jr. and Ben St. Just. He's a former Broyles Award nominee, which is big time. We haven't had one of those guys around here in a while. It feels like.
Didn't Jay Johnson nominated?
Maybe for the Kenneth Walker year, I think Kapilovic might have been on there too at one point, but like a legitimately accomplished one outside of, a couple extremely talented players making the coach, if you get what I mean there.
Yeah.
And I guess, I think it's good that a lot of the national experts are like, oh wow, they just hired a sleeper hire. He was on that big, I think it was Feldman's list, somebody's list at the Athletic on the top assistants across the country. And like Winston said, there's a lot of what we had issues with Hazleton was making adjustments and varying the scheme, and I think the guy's going to do that a lot. And I haven't really been able to think together very different things on like kind of a scheme that whether it's like 4 linemen, 3 down linemen, that kind of thing. From the sounds of it, it sounds like it's basically the 4-3 that we've been accustomed to running throughout the program history, at least from I've seen.
Yeah.
But he just has one of those guys as one of the DNs as a standing guy, which that would be a really great spot for Jacoby Windman to play if he comes back.
Yeah.
But it's a very solid hire, and he also has the Midwest ties from the Big Ten, and East Coast from being at Rutgers, which is obviously still Big Ten, but I think he was at Maine before that. So 2 very good spots to have in the recruiting footprint, as far as varying up the national effort and kind of keeping the Midwest there too. Yeah,
Definitely. I also saw an article from Sports Illustrated that says back when he was with Minnesota back before the season, it was Gophers defensive coordinator Joe Rossi, one of the best kept secrets in college football. So he may have just found a dirty little secret of our own.
Yeah, anytime you can hire someone that people are saying that about, I think it's great. I think people wanted something big, like a Phil Parker, but like when you think about it, those are like big swings in home runs. But like anytime, like I was saying earlier, you can poach a coordinator from another school in your conference, that's not exactly easy to do either. So I know people wanted like a big name, but like with all due respect to those other names, this is still a pretty big hire. Like we didn't just go out and take a defensive coordinator from like Toledo or somewhere else. This guy has a pretty well respected name, and a lot of people are saying very good things about him. And he comes from a Power 5 school that's done some very successful things on the defensive side of the ball over the past couple of years. So I'm pretty excited. I think it's a good hire, and the Midwest ties and everything that Travis said, I think is all points to it as well.
Yeah. So, any other thoughts on that, or do you guys want to go into something even more fun, some recruiting?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, that
All right.
sounds like it's going to be the fun one.
All right. So let's talk about the big one, the big splash. We spoke about him last time. Baby back ribs himself, Aidan Chiles.
Yeah, I mean, wow. Obviously, I think we had a good feeling it was coming. So many positive outlooks here, off the field, on the field. From a football perspective, Michigan State probably has not had this dynamic of a quarterback in a very long time. Drew Stanton comes to mind. And one thing I do think we have to keep in mind, obviously, Chiles is coming off true freshman year, so still very young. It may take time to, he's not going to walk on the field and be Jaden Daniels day one. And he may not ever be as good as Jaden Daniels, right? But obviously, there is a serious talent here. He has a recruiting pedigree. When he did play this year at Oregon State, he had good numbers. And just such a talented player. When you watch the film, there's obvious solid arm, very accurate, and obviously can take off and run with the ball. It's really going to be a terror for opposing defense to try and defend. Obviously the number one quarterback in the portal, number 2 overall player from I believe 247 Sports. So there's obviously, that's great, and I think we're already starting to see the impact of what he brings from a recruiting perspective and being able to bring in other players, whether from Oregon State or other recruits across the country from high schools. Obviously from a program perspective, this guy doesn't come for free. So obviously being able to land this big fish shows you that there's some competency and some trust and some organization going on the NIL side, obviously after the SD4L fallout. So, again, this is not something that gets done just because Aidan Chiles is close with Jonathan Smith. There's money involved here. So shows that Michigan State was ready for that. Obviously organized enough to get him. But man, I just think if you haven't had the chance to watch Aidan Chiles highlights from last year or high school, I think you're going to get really excited about what we have coming to East Lansing because, it's a big arm, it's an accurate arm, and he's quick, long strides, effortless speed. I think Finn compared him to Terrell Pryor,
Yes.
which I think is a pretty solid comparison. Probably a little more accurate, maybe not as strong of an arm, but I don't want to knock on his arm either. Probably a little more of polished passer, I would say, than Pryor. Pryor could have probably played receiver. Pryor probably an overall better athlete. Child probably a better passer of the football. He really, when he throws the ball, it really truly does look effortless, and the same when he runs. Very excited to see how they're going to mix him in. I mean, obviously, what we know about Jonathan Smith's offense is very much pro style. A lot of 2 tight ends, 1 running back, fullback, which is not typical for what you'd see for a quarterback like Chiles in the system that they run. But obviously, he likes it enough to make the jump with Smith to come to Michigan State. It'd be very interesting to see how they work in his dual threat ability into that offense. But just so exciting, such a big get for Michigan State to immediately change the outlook of the season of the recruiting class as well, and not just from one player perspective, but you could see with the guys starting to flood in after him.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue with your point about Stanton. I would say that he's probably even more exciting than that because I remember Stanton playing. Yeah, he was basically a dual threat guy. made some great plays with his legs. I think Chiles runs better, is more elusive, and definitely has a better arm. I mean, there are some I mean, there's video of him just throwing absolute seeds from 20 to 20 in live game action, and it was just incredible to watch. To me, he's the most exciting player we brought in, possibly ever, but definitely in a long time. You usually don't get that dual threat quarterback at Michigan State. The amount of players that are going to be coming in wanting to play with him just makes that even better. Extremely high ceiling, and he brings you a stable quarterback for at least 2 years. And he knows the system, which is even better. I mean, that's going to help a ton. And yeah, I mean, everybody just has fantastic things to say about him. And I mean, we seem to be on a pretty big roll here, and he's probably a huge reason why.
It's crazy to think. I mean, Stanton obviously a very long time ago. Nick, a year back.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks every bit as good, if probably better than Stanton for sure.
Yeah.
You had Nicky.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if we can say he looks good or than Stanton. Stanton played in the NFL, and this guy's 18 years old.
Yeah.
But
I do want to say we might be going overboard with expectations here too. Maybe not even just maybe not even just him, but the entire team. I mean, obviously we're on a roll, but I don't want to get carried away too much.
yeah, I mean, like obviously we're gonna go 10-2 minimum next year, because of this. But yeah, and yeah, I love the guys he's bringing with him too. Like we got Jake Velling today, earlier today as we record this. That's probably the second biggest recruit, would you guys say, that popped up recently?
Yeah.
He led
transfer portal, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, transfer from Oregon State. He caught the most touchdowns as a tight end in the country, right?
Yeah, he set the Oregon State single season record, I believe, for a tight end.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty.
I mean
nice.
that doesn't say a lot because I don't remember a lot of their tight ends, but it's still pretty good to have a record setter coming in.
Yeah, I mean you always prefer that your guy set some kind of record.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's what the best do,
Yeah.
And yeah, it is nice. Like with Velling here, Chiles. Let's see. Let's just go through the. You guys want to go through the list of who we got?
Yeah. I mean, before we move on too quickly, I mean, just from obviously from the stats and accolades, everything great. Velling, obviously, but coming in with now you have a quarterback that knows Jonathan Smith's system. You have a tight end that knows the system. Like that just helps out too. Like now it's not teaching a whole new system to everyone, right? There's guys coming in that can help other players out. It's going to help Jonathan Smith from in the offensive coaching staff as well. So just great to be able to bring in two guys that had success in that system as well, coming over.
Yeah. I mean, they can be leaders with the new program and have everybody, come in to get up to speed real quickly, have the resources to lean on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very nice that he has a lot of live reps too. He played like every fourth series, I want to say, starting halfway through the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has some serious Power 5 experience too.
Did you see that there was like a theory going around that Jonathan Smith knew he was going to be going somewhere else, so he did that to kind of make sure he was getting him ready for wherever he was going next.
Oh, thank you. I hope that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope that is true. That'd be very nice. But I mean, he's looked great. And it sounds like after the bowl game too, we're gonna get a couple more, or at least we're gonna start pursuing some Oregon State transfers. Preferably maybe even some O-line guys.
That would be great.
That'd be nice. We still need bodies in that room.
Yeah, we do.
Yes. Yeah. Although it is nice, I think since we last spoke, Boyd, Big Dooley, Chris Phillips, and Brandon Baldwin all came back.
Yep. Big.
That helps.
Just need bodies. Some people that have had experience in that room.
Yeah. And I guess Anything more to say about Chiles, or should we just start going down the list of?
I just feel like it just cannot be overlooked how big of a get that is. Like, it can't really like. Obviously, he could turn out to be terrible, and it's just all like smoke and recruiting rankings, everything like that. But for offensive staff that doesn't really have much to work with in terms of players, that that he has to throw to, or things like that. To be able to sell Michigan State, and obviously it speaks to Jonathan Smith and that offensive staff and the competency that they have. And hats off to the boosters and everyone else that was involved in getting the NIL package done, because there was definitely other suitors that were ready to throw money as well. So, it's one of those things where everyone was like, "Oh, that's an obvious, like he knew Jonathan Smith," but like it's not that easy, right? There's much more that went into that, and I just got to the cap, and it says a lot about Jonathan Smith and the offensive staff to be able to get that done. So, just adds to my excitement.
Yeah,
It is kind of funny that Mel Tucker was the recruiting guy, and it seems like within his first 3 weeks, Jonathan Smith lands like the biggest recruit in years.
I know.
Yeah, it's just running circles around him.
It's funny,
but,
yeah.
Historically speaking, you don't think of Michigan State getting those recruits, so it's real nice to get in on that.
Yeah, and you know what? I want to be careful how I say this. Mel Tucker, I think we're in a better spot now than we would be if we had Mel Tucker. Having said that, he came in at a time where the Michigan State brand was like not great. He elevated it to a much better. He left the program in a much better spot. It's crazy that he did that, but he did. He met much better spot than was when he took over. And honestly, one thing that I feel like is getting overlooked is he got the funds for the new facilities that were built.
Yeah.
Like he did a lot. He actually did kind of quite a bit off the field for the program.
His first 2 years he was especially.
So
I mean,
we have to thank him for that a little bit.
we have pretty good talent as a team.
Yeah. The facilities. I mean, that was one thing that was really bad when he took over. Like it's pretty well known that Michigan State was, lower tier facilities for a Big Ten school, especially compared to like Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State. So that was something that definitely needed an overhaul. So definitely glad that was on his priority list.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then
I had to make the phone call.
yeah, the guys that were leaving when he's leaving are going to much better programs than the ones that left when D'Antonio left too.
Right.
Yes.
That tells you a lot.
Yeah, that too.
About what he did.
Yeah, man. All the new QBs found new homes too.
Yeah.
Hope they're all happy.
A couple weird ones, but yeah.
Kind of surprised by Hauser. I mean, I get it. Like, I sounded like he wanted to go somewhere and be the guy, but like, I mean, Eastern Carolina.
That's a weird one.
At what point do you say, "Hey, you know what? I'm honestly better off just trying to compete here, and if I don't get the job, I can transfer the next year." Like, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
Woo! Arg!
Yeah. So yeah, leave it. Arizona State for him?
Yeah.
He'll come. I mean, they don't. He will. He's not guaranteed starting job there.
Yeah, no, he's not. Trying to think of who else they have over there though.
Rashada.
Is he still there? I thought he was okay.
So, right?
Okay. I thought I saw something that said portal for him, but I'm not sure. Maybe. Oh no, I'm thinking of Drew Pine.
Yeah,
he was the other one. Yeah.
Honestly, Noah Kim probably has the easiest path to. Well,
I think that system fits him pretty good too at Coastal. The way that.
Yeah, we'll see. That's probably more his level. I mean,
yeah.
I'm gonna go down the list of names of since it is signing week this week, I'm just gonna go down a list of all the recruits we have so far.
Yep.
We'll do our quick thoughts on them. I believe most of them are supposed to sign. I will say any ones that I know aren't going to. First off, we'll go transfers, just Chiles, obviously. We got today Jack Belling, as we said. TJ Sheffield, the wide receiver from Purdue.
that one.
Yes. Good get.
A grad transfer. I believe he was like their wide receiver 3.
That sounds about right. A couple touchdowns, but like 400 or 500 yards receiving, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was Burks was their number 1 guy, and he went to USC, I want to say.
That sounds right. I don't know for sure though.
Yeah, I'm not gonna check. I'm just gonna assume it was
I'm
USC.
looking.
I don't think we need to tell the audience. And then Jordan Turner, we got the Wisconsin linebacker.
Yes.
I don't know if
Burks
he
was
was that.
Oklahoma. Burks was Oklahoma.
Okay. Oh, okay. We have a lot of guys going to Oklahoma this year.
Yeah.
But they're showing a Michigan State documentary on
Oh
TV.
yeah, Draymond's up there. Yeah.
But sweet. So yeah, we got Nick Marsh, obviously, the big high school receiver. Feel like just can't wait for him to get there.
Yeah.
He'll have a role immediately.
Yeah.
We got the Lewinsky twins, Chuck and Mercer, daughter of Monica or son of Monica. Maybe they have some Clinton DNA in them,
Nice.
but I don't know. I think
No.
they're a little too athletic for that. Justin Dennison, the locked-in Spartan we all knew he would be. And Jaden Walker, apparently he's actually no longer going to sign with us early. USC's been pushing pretty hard, so he's going to wait until February.
Interesting.
Like how that sounds.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. He says he's 50-50. I guess, I don't know. I've never met him.
Usually
We got
doesn't
the new
turn out too well in those situations.
Yeah. And Eliso Milovec, our quarterback, the one who we announced his offer on air live last week. Winston said he sounds like Noah Kim 2.0.
Taking that back.
Any thoughts on the new QB?
I actually read a pretty good Q&A on Spartan Mag. It wasn't comp, but it was one of their other writers did a Q&A with Alessio Milivojicic's high school coach. And obviously the high school coach is not going to say anything bad about him, but pretty good insight on the recruiting process. And he kind of kept saying, like, I've been waiting for bigger schools to come find him. I think he's definitely worth a look for bigger schools like Michigan State as opposed to Ball State. I've watched some film, pretty impressive. The ball comes out of his hands nicely. Good quarterback body. Obviously the high school film, you got to take it with a bit of a grain of salt just because you don't really know what the competition's like, but makes a lot of good throws. And it sounded like when Lindgren went to visit, he watched the tape, talked to him, watched him throw a little bit on site, and was pretty quick to make an offer. I think he didn't offer on the spot, left, but then called pretty quickly thereafter to make the offer. So obviously they've made some impressions on our coaches. The film, again, impressive. That's another room where we need bodies, to be quite honest. I really do have my fingers crossed on this 4-star Duke
Tyler
commit,
Cherry.
Tyler Cherry.
He decommitted from Duke.
Oh, decommitted officially. Okay. So yeah, I'm kind of hoping that they can pull another one there. It's just tough when you've got basically kind of with Child, the one kind of downside is that you've kind of pretty clearly made this your guy for the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be tough to sell playing time as a reason to come to Michigan State. But, for some of these younger guys, it's like, how many schools do you go to as a true freshman and truly start right away? Like, you're going to be, if not redshirted, at least backing up or third string for a year or two anyway. So, needed a quarterback. Glad we got one. Hopefully we can get one more. Everything people say about this Tyler Cherry guys is positive as well. So, fingers crossed on that one, but glad we got another one.
Yeah. Tyler Cherry is kind of an MSU QB name too, like Kirk Cousins,
Yeah.
Connor Cook, Tyler Cherry, like it's
Sounds
kind
like
of
a Spartan, right?
Peyton Thorne, like yeah, we're a big noun last name kind of team.
Yeah. Yeah.
So next we got the wide receiver Austin Clay. He was initially an Oregon State recruit, flips today, obviously. We've had Jalen Thompson, our OG recruit of the class, not to be confused with the Jalen Thompson, who's a true freshman. We have Keyshawn Williams, who I believe was brought in by Jalen Thompson. And the four newest guys we have are Wyatt Hook, tight end, another flip from Oregon State. Andrew Brinson, I believe he's a cornerback out of and he was an Oregon State guy as
Florida.
well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Then we got Makai Fraser out of mine and Travis's backyard in Frisco.
Yeah.
And then
Good player.
He's a running back, right?
Yep.
And then
Technically, yes.
Brandon Orange Tullius.
Also right.
Orange
Also-
Julius. Yeah.
Yes.
Also running back in our backyard.
Yes.
Yeah,
A
the
little tall.
Makai Frazier, Comparoni was like raving about his film. And I think he plays in that 6A division football.
Yep.
So I mean, they were like, watch out. Like people have been saying, like, watch out for this guy. This is one of those things where it's like you think you can watch the film, but you have to just trust Jonathan Smith's eye as a recruiter. Obviously he was recruiting these guys to Oregon State because he thought they could be successful, and I think his track record shows that he's done a good job of getting solid talent to Oregon State. So I had to assume these guys will be a good fit. Especially at the running back side. I mean, he's had like very solid running backs each of the last like 3 or 4 years. So obviously that offensive staff has an eye for the running back position. So it's one of those things where I don't have time to watch film on all these running backs, but I just have to trust that Jonathan Smith's eye is good, and these guys that we're getting are, there's value behind the 3 stars. They're not just, no 3-star recruits that you can find anywhere.
I saw Frazier play in person in the 6A playoffs earlier this year. Fantastic athlete. I think I've told you guys this before. It surprises me that they have him listed as a running back instead of an athlete, because their starting running back at McKinney is going to USC. So he's the one that got all the carries. Frazier was kind of more of a Swiss Army knife. Played receiver a little bit. To me, he was more like he's gonna fit in at linebacker. That's just my opinion. But he made an absolutely incredible grab on a fade route for a touchdown in that game against Highland Park. So I mean, he was absolutely impressed. And as soon as I saw that, I had forgotten where he was committed to or whatever. But as soon as I saw that it was Oregon State, I was like, we need to go get this guy. He's gonna fit real well in there.
Yeah.
I saw Justin Thurn just raving about Andrew Brinson. Apparently he's like extremely underrated from what anyone who's watched his tape has said. And then there was one more guy who I thought, Justin Dennison. I guess our staff is considering maybe using him as a receiver as well, which I thought was interesting.
A little Justin
he
Lane
committed
kind
to
of
us?
thing.
Oh, he's early enrolling. He's signing.
I was saying, was he committed when Mel Tucker? Like he was committed before.
Yeah, he was.
I think so.
He was
He's the one
committed, but like every second he'd be like, I think he's like, maybe have somewhere else I can go. Like he kept doing the eye emojis and like tagging the other places.
Yeah.
But obviously it was
Yeah,
also extreme. He's a smart dog.
And now he's saying he wants to bring the no-fly zone back. So
that'd be nice.
yeah, I can get on board with that for sure.
Yeah, more than welcome to do that.
Please, yeah. None of us will stop you.
No one's gonna be upset about that, my friend.
Oh man, that was so sick. I'm loving this State documentary that's on TV too.
Yeah.
Now that I say that, I'm thinking it might have been Thompson that said that, but either way, whoever wants to bring it back.
Yeah, honestly,
I don't care. Yeah,
the more the merrier, honestly.
Absolutely.
So I guess that there. Any more thoughts on football before we swap sports?
I just think, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. I mean, I just feel like the Smith staff has hit the ground running. And, maybe it's just good press. I don't know. Maybe everyone at a new school is doing this and they're all bringing in their old recruits, but it just feels like they didn't miss a beat. They didn't waste time with press conferences and this and that. And, they met with players, but they didn't it doesn't feel like we lost days. They feel like they hit the recruiting ground running. They're seeing recruits in Illinois. They're going down to Indianapolis. They're on the road. They're working and they're getting commits too. I mean, I think it's a sign of good things to come. Give him the next season, obviously, but then when he puts together his first Michigan State recruiting board and has his first Michigan State recruiting cycle, I'm very encouraged with what we're seeing so far. It's good. I'm excited. I feel like my outlook for 2024 has improved, and it's not going to be a completely lost year. Just getting our legs wet with a new coach or getting our feet wet with a new coach, I should say. So, very positive stuff coming out of East Lansing on the football side.
Refreshing. It's fun.
Yes.
It's exciting.
Great.
I mean, we're in good hands.
Yeah.
Yes. Nothing like a brand new coach to just open the imagination. Start your brand new fan fictions. I mean, with Aidan Chiles at the helm, the next 2 to 3 years, knock on wood, gonna be some fun times.
Yeah. Amen.
Speaking of very recent fun times, the last 48 hours for Michigan State basketball have been a godsend from where we were before.
Yeah.
First off, obviously we blew out Baylor. From the second the game started, it wasn't in doubt. We played with an energy we just haven't even sniffed before. Just AJ's been cooking. He's finally playing AJ ball. Just beautiful stuff there. Travis, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like you were getting at, that was Spartan basketball. Fast start, aggressive defense, rebounding, getting out, playing transition, fast play points, just running up and down the court. It was beautiful to see, especially against a team like Baylor who likes to play that kind of style and as well, and just blowing them out of the building. It finally got everybody going. Hogarth's been playing a lot better lately. I think Aiken's played a little better tonight, but I feel like there was still some stuff missing from him in that Baylor game.
Yeah.
As far as his shot going down, I really liked getting Booker in there. I thought he should have played a little bit more, I guess, but it was a good opportunity to get in there against a fellow freshman big, that's playing at an elite level and test out how he looks against some elite talent out there. But I mean, and then at one point, even the guards were helping out with the low post defense, which we hadn't seen all year. We hadn't seen that team play any on either side of the ball at that level all year. It was really great to see. And a little bit of a slow start tonight against Oakland, but they still eventually got to that point again. And it's starting to look like what we thought we would see and what we needed to see.
Yes. Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, to piggyback off what Travis said, I mean, I feel like we've been waiting for that performance. I mean, eventually, if you're going to play enough top 10 teams, I feel like you're going to run into a win. I don't want to take away anything away from that win, though. I mean, I think someone on the broadcast said Baylor averages 92 points a game, and they had 17 at halftime. I mean, this was everything this team was supposed to be in this game. I mean, it was Hogarth and Tyson leading the way. Contributions from Cohen Carr,
Beers.
Yes, the freshman contributing, especially Xavier Booker. Great to see him get in, just get some reps and some experience. He made a couple shots, but again, to further Travis' point, getting out and running, playing fast, and then sound defense. I mean, that was just, it's finally everything clicked that we've been waiting for. And you could see what this team really, why that they would be ranked preseason number 4. Hopefully this is something they can build off of. Obviously tonight against Oakland, I think you just needed a workman-like performance. And I think we got that. Obviously kind of a bit of a spot for a letdown coming off a big win like that. So I really just wanted to see them, I didn't need to see the same exact game, but I wanted to see glimpses of it or a similar version of it. I think that we got that. But yeah, I mean, good to see Hogarth. It feels like Hogarth is turning a corner. And it seems like there's a little bit of I don't know what the best word for it is, but like the rotations are starting to look a little more what's the
That-
word, natural. Like there's not as much force, like the ball is flowing better, the offense is flowing better. Obviously we'll see what we can do when we get Kohler back. I think he will bring, whether he puts the ball in the basket or not, I don't think is the most important thing on offense. I mean, obviously it'd be nice if he can score 6 to 9 points a game. I just think he will see the floor, see the offense better than Sissoko. I think right now with Sissoko, he just doesn't even know his head from his ass. And he's like, you don't even need your big to score a ton of points, but like you need him to be able to see the floor and understand the flow of the offense and understand what the other players are trying to do. And we're just not getting that right now with Carter or Sissoko. So that's something I hope Kohler can bring. Because if not, I think, we could be in for a long season. But obviously good to see the ball go in the net. The team is shooting better. Hogarth, like I said, I feel like he's turned a corner. I could say this in like our next game, he could look like absolute garbage, but he needs to understand like this is the level of play that we need from him to be successful. Tyson Walker can do a lot, but he can only do so much. We have to have different guys contributing. But to say all that, I mean, just a good, solid 2-game stretch for Michigan State, exactly what they needed. Turn the corner, get right, and some confidence. I mean, I felt like for a second there was just like no confidence from anybody. So obviously good to see, and I think beating a top 10 team, now you can do that. So there's no excuses to not play confidently or play that hard. I mean, the defense and rebounding was superb the past couple of games. It's good to see. Obviously, Izzo seems to have some energy, so hopefully this carries over. We got a couple of tier games coming up. Indiana State,
winnable
no
games.
slouch. I mean, Indiana State has played very well this year. But Stony Brook, Indiana State, I mean, there's 2 games we should win, but we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. 2 people who I wanted to talk about. One, Jaden Akins. I still think we need a bit more from him. We've been really coasting. We've been really kind of banking on his development. Just like he gets good looks, sometimes they just don't fall as well. Seems like from what it sounds like, he does a little bit better in practice. He's locked in, just they aren't falling. But I have to say, someone who stepped up, we were talking about this earlier, Trey Holloman. He's been kind of the unsung hero. He has an energy. There were times like when the shots were going in where I was like, oh shit, was that Cassius? Like just because he wears that 5 in the headband.
Yeah.
He finally, it's not offensive for him to be wearing that anymore. He's really turning a corner. He seems to be a big personality on the team too, a leader. Really loving what I'm seeing out of him.
Yeah, he's been a really big, pleasant surprise. Kind of at times, and you just like when we needed someone that was to be a pleasant surprise, he's been that. He's played good minutes. When he gets his chances, he takes advantage of them. He doesn't hit every shot, but he's making shots too. Like I'm very, very surprised and pleased with what we're seeing from him. He's definitely worked his way into a must-play part of the rotation for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's been good. I never realized or I never saw what kind of offensive player he was, but I mean, he's been knocking down some key threes at times when we haven't had the shooting. He's played some excellent defense, which is what his calling card was coming into college.
Right.
So I mean, he's really developing. In your point about the whole Cassius thing, even like the announcers are like, "Is that Cassius Winston?" Every time he makes a shot, and so it's interesting. And on the Akins point, pretty solid night tonight. I mean, I know it's Oakland, but 4 of 9 from the floor, much better than he had been. Made 3 3-pointers, so 11 points, 3 for 7 from 3-point range. That's solid. I mean, a lot of what we thought we were going to get from this team this year depended on his shooting. So it's good to see him start getting a little better there, especially when we haven't had the shooting from a lot of people.
Yeah, man.
Were you guys watching? Like, we were talking earlier in the pod, and the game was still going on. They were doing some like crazy, like drawn up plays. Like they're passing it to each other, like back and forth, dunk. Like it was so sick.
I
didn't
saw
see it.
I saw the one where it was like really awkward. The car missed it, whatever. Like he tried
Oh, the
to.
one before was sweet.
Yeah,
Like the same thing, and he made it.
it was like the one I was talking about. Like was back same. It goes back to like Winston's point with Sissoko. Sissoko had the ball in the middle on a fast break, and he dished it off the car with absolutely no chance to put the ball in the hoop. And he still tried to dunk on him, but
Lost on offense.
Yeah.
Uh,
well, and that was fast break too.
yeah.
So it was maybe not exactly the guy you want handling the ball in the fast break, but
Yeah. He played all right tonight, but I mean, those are the games where he should play good. I mean, it's really
right.
I mean, talking about inferior competition size wise, but
Yeah.
he's been
If we're talking about guys having bad performances against Oakland, we're in a lot of trouble.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess speaking of being in trouble and everything, I guess it's time to maybe go back. We kind of were talking about resetting expectations last week, but we were at just code red panic mode. I think now Waters found his level a little bit. We're kind of like, I mean, we're kind of back. So maybe we can just kind of reset where we think what we're looking for this season. Kind of where we're at now. Winston, you start.
It's just like I didn't want a knee-jerk reaction and hammer the panic button. I want to see a little more, like I was saying earlier, it felt like we were due for one of those games where it was all going to come together. I want to see us put it together for a 4 or 5 game stretch. I want to see us win a Big Ten game. But I don't know. We were mashing the panic button and jumping off the deep end the last time we recorded. But I don't think these 2 wins totally rights the ship. Like I'm not here to say the Final Four's back on. I still think this team has a long way to go. I have no doubt that once every 3 or 4 games they can play like they did versus Baylor. What I want to see is if they can do that, if they can string that together for 3 or 4 or 5 games in a row, before I really start to have some more confidence. I don't think the games versus Indiana State and Stony Brook are going to tell us a ton. So we might have to wait till we get back into Big Ten play to really know where this team is going to go. As far as expectations, I mean, the team still has a long way to go. Like, I mean, 6-5, like, got to get to like 10-6, 10-7. Really rattle off some wins with only a loss or 2. I feel like before I'm like have a better idea. But obviously, make the tournament, get to the second weekend is the expectation at a minimum. And then once I see some more, I'll have a better idea. I want to see what's like when Kohler plays, but I'm not. Last week I was like, oh my god, just make the tournament, please. I feel like I've calmed down a little bit, but I still think there's some work to be done and a lot to see before we can really have a good idea. Consistency is going to be key.
Yeah, I mean,
So, okay, wait, before we do that, so Willie,
okay.
what would be a successful season at this point?
Elite 8 appearance.
So if we make Elite 8, you'll leave the season feeling good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, today.
Okay.
I'm 12-18. I mean, we're 6-5.
Yeah.
I think the Final Four is a successful season. I mean, I don't know. It's tough to last week we talked about not getting ahead of ourselves and setting expectations. So, I just want to beat Stony Brook 1 game at a time.
Yeah.
All right. What are you thinking, Travis? What would make you happy this season?
That is exactly what I was thinking. I'm honestly, with the way it started, I'd even take Sweet 16 again. I mean, I know that's kind of shitty, but I mean, the way we played, I mean, just make it to the
So-
second weekend. Like last week, I was saying, oh, there's no way we're making the tournament. We're totally screwed. So, I mean, I've walked off that ledge there, but walked away from that ledge, I should say. And so, I mean, it's a work in progress. They got to play consistently. That it's good to see a lot of guys starting to play like we thought they would. The shots starting to go down a little bit. Guys starting to get healthy and kind of seeing that chemistry start to take place on the court. It kind of reminds me a little bit of that the team that we had when
2015.
when Rocket Watts was a freshman a little bit with where they started off struggling a little bit and then they hit that run late in Big Ten play to the point where we were saying, oh, if the tournament happened, we would have been national champions. So I mean, it remains to be seen whether they have a run like that in conference play or even in the schedule at all. But I mean, they're showing signs of life, and that's all we've really been asking for the past couple of weeks.
Yeah. I think due to the preseason expectations, basically we're all kind of just calling the season a failure already. Because I don't see any way if we don't win the national title that I'll be happy. So like
I mean,
sorry, I like you can't
yeah,
at some point, what's the bigger streak? 26 tournaments in a row or 24 years in a row of not winning a national title? Like
That's a fair point.
that's the streak that I really think needs to end. And until that,
yeah.
it's fun to watch, but I just can't. It's just
Yeah, I mean, expectations can change, Nikki. I have such a hard time seeing this team right now, seeing this team string together, 4 or 5 really good games that it would take to win a national championship.
I agree.
I think right now, I wouldn't want to play us in a one game, do or die situation. But, after that, I just don't know. It's like this team.
Oh yeah.
Consistency is so scary.
I'm not saying I think we're gonna win. I'm just saying I'm not going to be happy. Like basically this team is just
I think that's the
I don't
preseason.
think we can this team is too much going for that talent wise. I don't think we can let them off the hook.
Well, that's fair.
We can't let these guys think they'll be loved because they'll be hated.
I mean, the big man position is a big concern.
It's a huge issue.
Something that I feel like the preseason rankings ignored or missed. I don't know. Like not.
I think they banked on Kohler and Sissoko's development.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think they might have been banking on Booker being a little more of a factor than he was.
Probably.
I mean,
That's
a much more feasible explanation.
Yeah.
Than
And he
Sissoko's going to develop.
Do you know what this team has? I was thinking about this earlier. So there are 31 games in the season. We're 6-5. I believe we have 13 games left. This team can lose 6 more games in the regular season with me being happy. And I'll be okay with that. I think that's fair. They have to win 20 games.
Okay.
With the Big Ten this year, I don't know if that's going to get you in.
I think that's probably get us in. I'm just saying, anything less than that, panic. Like
It's going to be close. It's going to be close. Yeah.
There's not a lot of quad 1 wins left for Michigan State, so they're definitely going to need to win.
That always changes, though. Like, I mean, Michigan can go on a 4-game win streak, and suddenly that's a quad 1 win. Like,
that's true. Yeah, that's true.
So right now, all of our losses are quad 1 losses.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan State. They're going to get in if they're on the bubble.
We're going to get it.
The benefit of the doubt. So, I mean, just keep winning games. I don't know if there's a set number. 20 sounds about right. 21, 22. I feel like that usually gets you in. I mean, Michigan's going to get in.
Man, I would like to win the Big Ten. Like, I don't think that will happen, but that would be nice.
Yeah.
We're only 1 game behind Purdue. So
I mean, we played 2.
Yeah, I mean
Hey.
it's early. There's plenty of stuff that can happen in the Big Ten. We certainly put ourselves behind the eight ball, starting off 0-2, and I mean I think that Wisconsin loss is going to age well. They look to be pretty good. The Nebraska loss, I don't think.
Oh, they're 10-2.
Yeah, I mean, but
To beat Kansas State.
they did like the opposite of Michigan State schedule wise.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, it's so early still. I mean, it's still December. I mean, we're still playing Oakland, Stony Brook. Like, we haven't really even gotten to the meat of the season yet. Look, I want to see them rattle off like 4 straight Big Ten wins. And then I'm like, okay, this is the team I thought we were. Like, if they would have beaten Wisconsin and Nebraska or even probably split those games, I feel like I'd feel a lot more comfortable. But like, those were like really
Those are really bad.
gut punching losses. Like, I don't know. It's tough. I mean, it is what it is. They'll be all right. They'll be all right. But I don't know. My expectations have changed for sure. It's just tough to see this team.
Yeah, I guess more my happiness expectations is like I'm not going to be happy with this team essentially regardless, unless they get much better.
Right.
At some point, we gotta act like we're, as the UConn fans would say, we gotta win a championship.
Yeah, I mean we do. I mean, it's so true. There's no doubt about that. No question.
All right, so I guess that's what we got about basketball. We're on the up. We're on the up and up. Oh, also one last thing for Jackson Kohler. He was back in a boot, but apparently Izzo said that was just precautionary, and he should be back by Christmas still. So that is beautiful.
Okay.
True.
I saw that Garrick Norman, not that I mean he's a red shirt, but he was also in a boot.
Yeah. Maybe he's getting his MSU foot injury out of the way.
Get out of the way now.
As long as he can still shoot after.
Yeah, the sledgehammer to the foot that everyone gets is
Drop a weight on.
initiation.
All right. Get him in a boot. Welcome to the team.
Took the wall
All
after
right.
the last loss.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna do a fun end of the year segment. We're gonna go around first and say the best sporting moment of the year for Michigan State. And then we're gonna go around and say the worst. So we're gonna go Winston, me, Travis. So Winston, what was the best moment of the year?
Best moment of the year. This is going to be cookie cutter, but I'm going to go with Jonathan Smith hiring. Felt like a fresh start for the football program, something that we absolutely needed. I know he wasn't everyone's first choice, but I think they got a good one. We could look 3 years from now, and this could be the worst day of the year. Who knows? But best day of the year, I felt like that was a good, strong reset for the football program at a time when we needed one. So that's my best day or best moment of the year.
That's a good one, Winston. Mine, I want to switch. I wanted to go a little different. I'm going to say it was best moment of the year sports wise for Michigan State, the Marquette win, because in that moment, I thought we were we were back. Like that was the most we are finally back feeling. It felt like a weight was lifted off the shoulders when we made the Sweet 16, to be honest.
Agreed.
That was
a good one.
As I know it's not the accomplishments of past that we have, but just made us feel normal.
Yeah, I that one crossed my mind too, Nikki. I think for the same exact reasons, like it just felt like, okay, this is still Tom Izzo, it's still Michigan State. Marquette, great team last year, but you're not going to beat Michigan State in a must-win game like that. Like that was Tom Izzo at his finest. That one felt comforting. Like that, even like I look back to that game now, I'm like, okay, but we still have Tom Izzo, and we're still Michigan
95% of that
games like that. Yeah. That's a good one.
Travis, what's your best moment of the year?
Well, you guys took the only two on my list, so I guess I'm gonna have to go with the football win over Nebraska, just because we finally got a conference win I mean,
Harlan's first win.
that football team that season was real tough to watch. It was finally good to see when getting the win column and actually play a solid game. And feel like I'm forgetting a lot of stuff, but it doesn't feel like there's been a lot of positive sports stuff lately
It's
Aidan
true.
Chiles.
until this weekend. Yeah.
Kyle's, yeah.
Well, yeah. I was keeping it kind of. Yeah. I guess I was thinking more on the field once you guys
It's fair.
took those
That's
other
fair.
two.
Very
But
fair.
yeah.
So now we can talk about something where there are many more options. What is the worst moment of the year, Winston?
Now, there's two that stick out in my mind, two or three.
And it can be any sports related.
Uh that Washington game was just a kick in the dick. I mean, it was like, I don't want to say what my other choice was because I don't want to take it from somebody. So if we get into honorable mentions, I'll be sure to mention it. But like that Washington game was like, I mean, it's the third game of the season, so there's still hope. I think we knew it was going to be bad after the whole Mel thing, but it was like, oh, maybe we'll be all right, or okay, but if we play them close, we still have other games that we can win this year, and we can still have a good season. But then to lose the game that way we did, I mean, basically just said like, our football season's over. Like like it was so deflating. So I'll go with the Washington loss in football.
That's a good one. I'm gonna go similar, another on the field one. This one for basketball. It was actually the worst just moment was probably the Wisconsin game because that was the ultimate moment of doom for me. I felt like we were never going to win a game again. Like I think that was like the doom was chipping away with the James Madison, the Duke. That Arizona loss was close, but man, that Wisconsin loss, I was just completely demoralized. Like I was done.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna choose that moment. Luckily, we've rebounded a bit since then, but I will choose that moment as in the moment the most sad I was.
that's a good one. Trevi.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Let's see here.
Definitely a big one just on the board, ready to
I
be
know.
taken.
I just don't know if I want to take that route. Yeah, okay. Low hanging fruit. Um, that I don't know if you want to call it Saturday
A
night.
perfect phone call.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you want to call it the Saturday night or the Sunday morning or whatever you want to call it, but the melon in it was not a fun one to be dealing with.
That was so crazy. Just waking up like
Yeah.
Hey,
like
did you guys
like
read
oh I got
this?
an ESPN notification. What is it? Like Michigan State was it like Mel Tucker's press conference? Mel Tucker
Yeah.
it was like Mel Tucker reportedly sexually harassed a rape victim. That this must be a dream. That's not real.
I saw the alert from ESPN was the first alert that I got. And I
Mhm.
was like, oh Jesus Christ, what do they want from us now?
Yeah.
But since then, obviously it's been a lot different. And it was just a bad situation. I do think somehow that we're in a better spot
Yes.
now. It kind of got rid of the bad
Vibes.
bad egg in the program. Yeah, bad vibes. Uh, negative feeling in there, I guess. But at the time, we were just like, oh Jesus, what's going on here? Here we go, and we can't do anything right. Blah blah blah.
I was so down.
People
with that.
calling for the death penalty. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, yeah, like I just knew, like seeing that, I was like, oh no, we're gonna just the next like the rest of this football season is gonna be so annoying.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just like on like I think it was First Take or something. Max Kellerman wanted to give us the death penalty for something much less severe that like we didn't even do. I don't even remember what it was, and I just kept thinking, don't turn the TV on tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're gonna be screaming stuff that you do not want to hear.
Yeah, that was tough.
It
I
was-
mean, remember reading the notification from ESPN, and I was like, okay, they're after us again. This was a nothing burger. And then I saw like the Yahoo Sports article,
USA Today
USA
one was
Today,
the
USA
big
Today,
one.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh, this is a
This
big
is bad.
problem.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is okay. All right, we have no
We're
coach.
getting a new coach. Yes.
Like the realization when I was like, oh shit, Mel Tucker's gonna get fired. I was maybe as depressed as I've been, since the UConn game. Like I
Well,
was
and
like
then-
speechless. I was just like, oh.
I was
I was
like, oh my god, we're done. Like
Well,
we are done. MSU
then
was done.
and then I remember reading all that shit and just being like, well, nobody's that stupid. Like,
Can't be true. Oh my God.
it's like, oh
It
man.
was
And
so
then
bad.
and then after, when you're looking at all the candidates they're talking about, we're like, this is not the year to be hiring a coach.
No.
But,
Yeah.
but hey,
I mean,
see
yeah.
working out here. I mean, so many of those candidates that were thrown out there at first, it fizzled out immediately.
I remember the first three names were like Sean Lewis, Charles Hoff, and Jason Kendall. Jason
Yeah.
Kendall still at Toledo.
Sean Lewis did get it. Sean Lewis did get a head coaching job
He did. He did.
at
His second head coaching job.
San Diego State. Yeah.
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 Jason fucking Cantle.
I will- I
Yeah.
will-
Hey. He's still in Toledo.
Must be
everyone-
missing something. I don't know.
Everyone's like, oh yeah, like he's like the Power 5 candidate, like he's the easy one. Still at Toledo. Chris Creighton still at Eastern.
Yeah, gosh, that was the worst. Those
Yeah.
fucking names being
Oh,
thrown out.
No, that phone call on Valenti's show where the guy was talking about Butch Jones.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
that was
Oh my God.
Butch Jones.
Butch Jones is getting fired at Arkansas State.
Yeah, that was like the peak of
Dan
Yeah.
Enos.
Dan Enos.
Dan
Oh
Enos.
my god.
Sure.
And just
Shermer.
hearing
Yeah.
all the assholes like, oh, like Jonathan Smith and Jake Dickert would never go to Michigan State. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, you're just lying. Like that's
Yeah.
just not even close to being
Dickert,
true.
Dickert fell off too, but yeah.
Yeah,
Point
people were
taken.
saying that about Rossi. They were like, "Oh, kind of a lateral move." Hey, no, Michigan State is like
Yeah, exactly.
one of the Michigan State has played in the college football playoff. They've won multiple New Year's Six bowl games in the
Last 10 years.
yeah in the college football playoff, and are like definitely not a lateral move whatsoever.
Minnesota's biggest football achievement is Tony Dungy. I mean,
Right.
that's it.
Yeah, what have they done? Lateral move. Give me a break.
And I'll show you a lateral move. Lateral, lateral my fucking fist up. Right.
Oh,
All right. We cue the music.
cue it, the music, baby. Okay, so I didn't know when we'd be recording next, so I just grabbed the most interesting bowl games of bowl season. If I missed any, feel free to let me know, but I think I got them all. So maybe a little bit of an extended version of the picks here. It looks like there is 17 games to pick from, so we'll try and go through them quickly here.
Hell yeah.
I don't know where the standings are. All my notes are back in New York, but I'll try and figure it out before we record next. First one is the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. James Madison, undefeated James Madison, taking on Air Force. The Dukes of James Madison are favored by 2.5. Travis, I'll start with you.
Yeah, that's a game right here in our backyard in Fort Worth. I was there last year for what was the freezing, like -6-degree night game between Baylor and Air Force in that game. Air Force ran the ball like crazy on there. I think probably try to do the same thing here, but James Madison's just a much better team than that Baylor team they're playing against, especially given that the weather's supposed to be much better. So I'll go James Madison.
I'll go Air Force. Support the troops.
I'm going to go Air Force 2. James Madison, no coach. Or, well, not no
Yeah.
coach, but losing their coach. The next one is the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. That will feature the Utah Utes as 6.5-point favorites taking on the Northwestern Wildcats.
I'll be a conference guy. No Big Ten. Why not?
Yeah, why not? I'll go Wildcats as well.
Okay, you both know I will not be picking the Wildcats, so I will go with Utah. Next one, DirecTV Holiday Bowl. 15 Louisville, favored by 7.5, taking on the Trojans from the University of Southern California.
Going Cardinals. Why not? A lot of these are just a crapshoot anyway.
Yeah.
I'll go Troj. Trojis. Troji.
Yeah, too much turmoil in that USC program for me.
Right.
7.5's a lot, but I'm going to take Louisville. The next one here, we got the Tax Act Texas Bowl, featuring the Texas A&M Aggies as 2.5-point favorites against the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
Oklahoma State's a little more stable right now because, I mean, A&M doesn't have. I mean, Elko's there, but they're not there for the bowl game. So go Cowboys. They made the Big 12 title game for a reason.
I'll go Cowboys as well.
I am also going to go with the Cowboys. Okay, this one threw in there for Vis, the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. The 24th ranked SMU Mustangs travel to Fenway Park, take on the Boston College Golden Eagles. SMU is favored by 11.
That's a lot, but pony up. Let's go.
That's right, pony the top.
I think because it's in their home city, I'm going to choose the Boston College Bostonians is to cover.
Good list.
All right. SMU's been good to me this year. All right, I'll pony up with the boys. Okay, our first matchup featuring two ranked teams, the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Pop-Tarts, what a great American brand. The 18th ranked NC State, I'm drawing a blank on their name, versus
Wolfpack.
The Wolfpack, yes. Thank you, Travis. The Wolfpack, 18th ranked NC State Wolfpack versus the Kansas State Wildcats. Coming in ranked 25. Kansas State is favored by 3.
First off, I love what they're doing with this bowl game because the winner gets to take a bite out of a life-size Pop-Tart mascot.
Oh, nice.
Snack. So
Sounds yummy.
Really cool. Yeah. I haven't said what flavor it's going to be, but I am going to go. What would you say the line was again?
Kansas State favored by 3.
Yeah, I'm good with that. I'll Kansas State.
Right.
I think the Wolfpack is going to be feasting on some mixed berry Pop-Tart. Give me the pack, baby.
Okay, I'm also going to ride with the Wolfpack. Kansas State won't have their quarterback, so I'm going to go with. Well, their backup's not bad though.
I mean, both quarterbacks are in the portal.
Okay, well then I'm definitely
Yeah.
going to go Kansas State. And the Pop-Tart flavor, I think, is going to be strawberry.
Oh, we're going on flavor here.
Yeah.
I'll throw out a cherry.
Okay.
Okay, it's definitely not going to be cherry, but
I mean, you said wildberry.
I think
it's berry.
wildberry
Yeah.
is one of the most iconic flavors.
The best.
Actually, cherry is
mean,
actually one of my favorites. So
No, I love the wildberry and the cherry ones. I'm just saying.
yeah,
Strawberry is just a classic.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Moving down back over to Texas, the Valero Alamo Bowl, a classic. We have number 14th ranked Arizona Wildcats taking on the Oklahoma Sooners. Arizona is favored by 3. Jed Fish having a good year. One of the other coaches that got left out in the hiring cycle.
Yeah. Well, no Dylan Gabriel, so that changes things a little bit. I'm not comfortable on this one. No, I'm gonna go Sooners. Assume Jackson Arnold's gonna be starting there. Former National Gatorade Player of the Year. Denton guy or high school over here, so ride that way.
Nicky boy.
yeah, same here.
All right. I'll take the opposite side as well. I'll go with Arizona. Jed Fish and the boys will cap off a good season. A lot of turmoil, I feel like, in the Oklahoma program right now. Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. 22 ranked Clemson goes in as 4-point favorites against the Kentucky Wildcats.
Yeah, I'll go Clemson.
I will go Clemson as well.
As well. I feel like the sky was falling for them and they kind of righted the ship. And I think Dabo's going to want to have some ammo to top off a good season there. Okay. Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl finds our friends down in Corvallis, Oregon. The Oregon State Beavers taking on the 16th ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The Irish are favored by 6.5.
I believe Notre Dame's playing with Sam Hartman's out for that game. So that's interesting. But having said that, with all this stuff that's gone on with Oregon State on Twitter and stuff, I cannot make myself pick them. I'm going to go Notre Dame.
Yeah, I mean, Sam Hartman's out, but so is DJ Ungule, Aidan Chiles, Jack Velling, Damian Martinez, I think. Yeah, I'm going to go Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's just hard for me to pick the Beavers here. I'm going to go with Notre Dame as well. I mean, their coach is from the staff, but he's not coaching the bowl game. I don't even know who their quarterback is. So
they thought one of our coaches was coaching with them until like last week.
Yeah,
no idea what's going on there.
Get it together. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Our first New Year's Six Bowl, the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic, one that Travis and I have been to. Really,
we'll be there this year too.
Oh, good. Nice. That's very nice. A nice job they do down there at Jerry World. This year's edition of the game features the 9th ranked Missouri Tigers coming in as 2.5-point favorites versus the number 7th ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. Travis, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on this one. I don't really know who's playing for Missouri in that game. I do know Ohio State has some guys that have said they're out, I believe. And they obviously they don't have McCord, and it's going to be, I would assume, Devin Brown at quarterback there. I'm gonna go Missouri. Just nah. Yeah, I'll go Missouri. Why not?
Okay.
Yeah. I don't feel great about that one, but
Tough one for sure.
I like Eli Drinkowitz and the gang. Ohio State, Ryan Day is such a loser. Couldn't beat cheating old Michigan. I'm going to go Missouri.
Yeah, this is a really tough one to pick. I'm going to go. I'll ride the Big Ten here, but I get to say don't have a lot of confidence. I mean, I feel like, talking about program and turmoil, it just feels like a lot of Ohio State. People are upset about Ryan Day. People are leaving. Just not a lot of good stuff, but I don't know. I feel like I'm going to ride the Big Ten there. All right, going over to Atlanta, Georgia now for the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. One of the better games, I'll say. Number 11, Ole Miss Rebels taking on the number 10 Penn State Nittany Lions. Penn State is a 4-point favorite.
What?
Yeah, that doesn't sound right to me. I mean, Penn State has that defense, but I think Ole Miss is just better. I mean, it's that much better. I'm gonna go Rebels on that one.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about losers, we gotta talk about James and Michael Franklin.
Yes.
Give me the other guys.
The other guys.
I am with you, Nikki. It'll be a cold day in hell before I bet on James Franklin. I think
Dickless J.
That's a good point too. Okay.
Dickless. All right, Capital One Orange Bowl. The 6th ranked Georgia Bulldogs are 14-point favorites over America's team, the Florida State Seminoles, coming in ranked number 5. Obviously, everyone knows what happened with Florida State. Georgia probably a little pissed off too. Not really sure which team wants to be there less, or if any team either really wants to be there. But in either event, Georgia's favored by 14 in the Orange Bowl. Travis, what do you got?
I'm going to go a little risky here. I mean, based on what you just said, I'm kind of thinking that, maybe the team's just going to be walking through the motions. It's not really going to be that much of a, that much of a difference between the scores. So, I'm not really going to pick a winner here, but I don't think Georgia wins by 14. So
So you're choosing Florida State to cover.
long way. Same. Yeah, Florida State covers.
Yeah, this game's going to be over by the second quarter. Georgia is going to roll. Sorry, Winston. Sorry, Ivy.
That's all right. I certainly think that could happen. I think Florida State's got a lot to play for, lot to prove. Their defense, I think, is as good as any in the country. It should keep them in the game. I'll go with Florida State to cover the 14. Okay, then we go over to the Verbo Fiesta Bowl, which will feature the Group of 5 team Liberty, ranked 23rd, going against the 8th ranked Oregon Ducks. To no surprise, Oregon is favored by 17 points.
Ooh. Yeah, don't love that line on a ride with Oregon.
Sounds like they probably could have given Liberty a less good team, maybe like third on
yeah.
Penn State. But I'll go Oregon.
Yeah, I mean, this is another Oregon team. I don't know how motivated they are for this game, but it is Bo Nix's last game. Liberty defense really unimpressive. I'll take Oregon as well. I'll lay the points. All right. Oh man, a big one here. The Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. 17th ranked Iowa Hawkeyes will take on a 21st ranked Tennessee Volunteers. Tennessee is favored by 8.5.
Yeah, I mean, I still have no faith in the Iowa offense at this point. So Tennessee, I don't care who's playing for them. Seems like a easy pick there.
You know what? I'm going to go Iowa. I like to have fun. I have them to cover.
You would,
I am will go with Tennessee as well. I mean, Tennessee really should only have to score like 10 points, and they might be able to cover that 8.5 point spread. Okay, moving on to final 3 games here. First one, the CFP semifinal at the Rose Bowl, presented by Prudential. The number 4 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide, led by, of course, Nick Saban, will travel to Pasadena, California, to take on the number 1 ranked Michigan Wolverines, led by Jim Harbaugh. Michigan favored by 1 point against the Crimson Tide. Start us off, Travis.
Do I do it? I think I do. Roll Tide.
Nice.
Boom.
Yeah, Bama better win. Like that's all I'll tell you.
It'll be a cold day in hell before I bet on James Franklin, but I would bet on James Franklin before I bet on Michigan. So I will take that as well. All right, going over to the other semifinal game, CFP semifinal at the All-State Sugar Bowl. Of course, we have the number 3 ranked Texas Longhorns going up against the number 2 ranked Washington Huskies. Texas is favored in this one by 4.5.
I'm gonna go Washington just because I didn't expect Texas to be favored, but maybe they're on a roll. But yeah, I'll go there.
I'm going to go Washington as well.
I'm going to go with Washington as well. I think Penix is hard to bet against this year. Certainly the track record to prove it. Okay, last game here. We'll get it quick. Lions -3 at the Vikings. Week 16?
Yeah.
Travis?
Yep.
Lions cover, wrap up the division. Let's go. Rolling the
Yeah,
dice, playing for that number 2 seed. Yeah.
You don't even need to ask the Lions game pick.
Amen. I'll take the Lions as well. Forward down the field, baby.
All right. So that is your Spartan Savants. It's been probably the best week in sports since we started this podcast, as we were saying. Hope everyone have a great night. Have a happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Merry Kwanzaa. Etc.
Make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons too. And, follow us on all the social media and wherever you find our podcast.
And most important, go green.
Go white.
What?
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back. Chiles. I want my baby back ribs. I want my baby Chiles baby back ribs.
Barbecue sauce.
I want my baby Chiles. I want my baby back ribs. I want my baby Chiles baby back ribs.
Barbecue sauce.
I want my baby